flags, don my clothes. It's a revolution, I suppose. We'll paint it red to fit right in. Whoa, I'm breaking in, shaping up, and checking out on the prison bus. This is it, the apocalypse. Whoa, I'm waking up. I feel it in my bones, enough to make my systems blow. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Whoa, whoa, I'm radioactive, radioactive. Whoa, whoa, I'm radioactive, radioactive. All systems go, the sun hasn't died. Deep in my bones, straight from inside. I'm waking up, I feel it in my bones, enough to make my systems blow. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Welcome to the new age, to the new age. Whoa, whoa, I'm radioactive, radioactive. Whoa, whoa, I'm radioactive, radioactive.
Yeah. Here, let me make it. Hey Google. Hey Google. Mind meeting 6 hours.
Hello, I've waited here for you ever long. Tonight I throw myself into out of her red, out of her head she sang.
Hey everybody out there waiting for the Suzette Veneti show. How are you? We're here. We're just going to wait a couple minutes. I just want to say that's just for a couple people to log in and start watching. We're ready for the third week in a row at 7 o'clock. So boom, bam. That's like 15 points for us. So go to the bathroom, get a drink, smoke a joint, celebrate no curfew. But we'll be back in like 4 minutes. 4 minutes. See you in 4 minutes.
Everything that ever feel is real forever. Anything could ever be this good again. The only thing I'll ever ask of you, gotta promise not to stop when I say when she sang. Breathe out so I can breathe you in, hold you in. And now I know you've always been out of your head, out of my head I sang. And I wonder when I sing along with you, everything can ever feel is real forever. Anything could ever be this good again. The only thing I'll ever ask of you, gotta promise not to stop when I say when she sang. And I wonder when I sing along with you, everything can ever feel is real forever. Anything could ever be this good again. The only thing ask of you. Gotta promise not to stop when I say when. She sang.
Are you doing an intro? Okay.
Welcome back to the Stab Comedy Theater, virtually. It's time once again for the Suzette Veneti Show. Oh, I said I was going to do it differently this time. I didn't. It's been a week, guys. Please, welcome to your screen, Suzette Veneti.
Hey viewers, how are you? It's June 7th. It's 7:05 p.m. It's a Sunday. It's summer. Hi, how are you? Welcome to Suzette Veneti Show. Got a great show for you tonight, and here we go. Lego halted production and pulled advertising for their White House kit and their police-related kits. Lego donated $4 million to foundations that support either the education of black youths and and educate all children about racial equality. If you still want to buy a Lego playset, that will be a fun little fascist toy for the little fascist in your life. The Darth Vader castle is available. Ben & Jerry's announced a new flavor called Peek and Resist. Ben & Jerry's, mint chipping away at systemic racism since 1978. To counter that move, the notoriously racist ice cream maker from the Midwest, which isn't saying the Midwest is racist, the ice cream maker is, Oberweis, countered, and they have a new flavor. It's called A Few Bad Apples with a Thin Blueberry Line. Fuck Oberweis. Trump said last week that his way to fight racism is a strong economy. The comment has been viewed as controversial by some due to the fact that racism was, prior to 1865, literally the backbone of the American economy. I'm starting to think that maybe the conservatives don't even want Harriet Tubman on a $20 bill. In recent news, locally, 40 protesters were arrested in Sacramento, along with 25 police officers who were arrested for war crimes against the protesters for excessive use of force. JK, we're not in that timeline. We're in an alternate one. That's from the good one. Sims are literally peeing fire in the latest update to Sims 4. Our society has clearly become so wicked that God has resorted to sending plagues for our video game characters. Called the gonorrhea glitch. Don't catch it. Everyone is sharing posts and lists to support black-owned businesses and restaurants, but you have to be careful, as some of the businesses on the list are out of date or include businesses that aren't actually black-owned. So do your research. But here's a tip for you from me. Stay away from Rachel Dolezal's pretzel shop. Mayor Muriel Bowser changed the street name and intersection in front of the White House to the Black Lives Matter Plaza. Lesson, as always, don't fuck with black women. Trust the drag princess on this. Queens are going to be queens. And to Mayor Muriel Bowser, yes, queen. K-pop fans have dominated white supremacy and anti-black hashtags this week. Anyone searching for hashtags like White Lives Matter or White Out Wednesday and Blue Lives Matter was greeted with endless pictures and performances of popular South Korean music groups. There's no punchline. That's hysterical. In this week's weirdest story, Brandon McCormick. Maybe the weirdest story? I'm not sure. This has been, like always in 2020, a very weird week. Brandon McCormick of Utah, you know, the old white guy with the bow and arrow, got out of his car in front of protesters and, while preparing to stab them with a hunting knife, screamed, "All lives matter." McCormick, the proud owner of 3 new felony charges, claimed that he arrived to the scene to protect the police, which is really strange because previously in his life, Brandon McCormick was convicted of attacking a police officer and received a felony count. We haven't seen a character shift and arc this unpredictable since Game of Thrones Season 8. In a related story, 2 Buffalo police officers that shoved 75-year-old white peace activist Martin Gugino to the ground have been arrested and charged. I think the scariest thing about this story is that before there was video footage, the Buffalo police spokesperson reported that Gugino slipped and fell. Only after the footage was released did the spokesperson say, he got pushed, but he still slipped, and they took action. Despite video evidence to the contrary, they're still saying he slipped. And I keep going back to they saying he slipped because, I don't know, like, what are they sponsored by Life Alert? Help, my civil rights have fallen. Can't get up. 2 National Guardsmen were struck by lightning while patrolling the White House in D.C., which might just be a sign from God. Like my ex always says, if the Jews are throwing lightning and God's throwing lightning, you might be on the wrong side of history. And I want to take a second to say, I know that there are good police officers, and it's very apparent that there's not just some bad apples. There's some bad orchards. There's a lot of bad orchards. But to the good police officers, come on, we need you. We know you're there, but we need you now. And back to the list. I don't have jokes for these yet, but also in the news, TV cops are donating to Black Lives Matter funds. Trump thinks George Floyd is looking down on employment numbers, and Akon is starting a whole city in Africa called Akon City, and it's going to be funded by Acoin, a bit currency. We might have jokes on those one day. Vegas reopened this week. Changes made in Sin City allow the gamblers to come back, including sanitizing dice and wearing face masks. And the face masks, of course, are on everyone, including the showgirls, which is funny because now there's more fabric on the face of the showgirls than on the body of the showgirls. Overall, Sin City denizens are happy to be there. But remember, we're still in a pandemic, so now you'll be gambling with your life and your money. And finally, remember how badly we wanted 2020? After 2019, it was like, we want 2020. It looks so good. It looks so good. And now that it's here, now that we're with 2020, there's no way out. And it doesn't look nearly as good as we thought it did. And ladies and gentlemen, that's how you get 90 Day Fiancé'd. Anyhow, I'm going to go to the show now. It's fantastic, and we're going to enjoy it. And let's bring in Clifton Ellison with What's the Tea. Clifton, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can.
Yay. So, oh God, this week has been some shit. It has been some shit. As you can see, I have moved. I have boxes and things behind me, so that's why I'm strategically placing the camera a little high, so I'm not putting all my business out there. But this week I went to my first protest, and it was something that really kind of, in the midst of all the bullshit, it really warmed my spirit to see over, I believe, like 2,000 people on the right side of history. And the thing that they don't show you on the news is the peaceful protests, the people actually wanting to learn, people talking, people engaging, people organizing. And there was people of all walks of life. I saw Taryn there. I saw a lot of our local drag queens there. You were there. We must have just missed each other. It was a lot of people. But
There were a lot of people.
It was the boost that my spirit needed, because this past few weeks have been really dark, really, really dark. And just seeing the peaceful protests and seeing the action and movement, like we got the officers are already arrested and they're being tried. So now we're trying to get on Breonna Taylor and get on the multitude of other cases that have been thrown away or forgotten because, you know, people think that we don't remember. People think that we were just are trying to make a trend and go away. No, we want this to be forever, period. We want to be treated equally because we matter. Everybody matters, and we want shit to go right. Now, as far as the tea, because, you know, I like to serve a little bit of messiness. One thing that has came out of all of this is, unfortunately, a lot of our local gay and lesbian and of all the rainbow family have really started to show their ass on the internet. And they think that people don't see these things. They think that people just are gonna let the shit slide. But no, you're gonna lose your job today. You're gonna lose your man today. You're gonna lose your things today. Because if you're sitting here on Facebook saying run them over and things like that, but then you wanna be at Pride with your shirt off dancing to Lady Gaga, you can't have both, baby. So we're gonna snatch that job away. And someone said, oh, it's a witch hunt. Girl, you shouldn't have said what you said. If you didn't say what you said, then there wouldn't be something for me to screen cap and your job wouldn't get called. So yeah, there's been a couple of people that lost their job this week, and to them, that's it. So that's what they get.
Clifton, I have a question. I'm sorry. Were you done?
Oh, I was going to say one of my favorite quotes, and it's from the comedian Monique, and it comes from when Monique was on this wonderful, fabulous show called Charm School that I think that you should watch on Hulu when you get the chance. And I quote, when you do clownery, the clown comes back to bite. And the clown came back to bite multiple times this week. Now, what was your question, Suzette?
Okay, so I saw a little bit of what David, you know David, he was working on for the show. He sent it to me. And there are some quotes about pride from Marsha Johnson and her saying that maybe it's not worth celebrating if everybody doesn't have the same freedoms.
That part.
Okay.
And I would say this is probably the first year that I don't feel like it's the middle of June. Usually I'll be covered in rainbows, glitter, twirling, and everything like that. I don't feel it. Like we got a lot of work to do.
No, I'm with you. I mean, you know me, I have a rainbow dress, and instead I'm in something a little more muted. So I guess my question is it appropriate to say Happy Pride?
Yes, exactly. You should still be proud of who you are. You should still be proud to be an ally or be a part of the community. But with that, you should also be aware that a lot of our members of the community are not being treated equally, and that in order to have that pride, that we need to make sure that everyone is treated equally across the board. And that's really all we want. And it's a damn shame that we got to do all this just to get that. That should be the bare minimum.
It should be. You're absolutely right. But I will say I'm so happy, just like you, to see so many people out there of every orientation and color and religion and everything fighting for this fight. And that really makes me feel better. This is probably the best I've felt since 2015 when I looked around the world when Obama was still president. And I was like, okay, humanity is good. And then, 2016 happened and I was like, no, humanity's not as good as I thought. I take it back. But this is telling me that there are people out there, and all the more important that we get out there and vote and do the research in who we're voting for. And it might be a choice of, two people you don't want, but we gotta make our way to change. So I guess for now
this is not the time to play.
I'll say happy Pride, but we got work.
We got work.
Okay.
A lot of work to do.
Okay. How's the new place?
It's good. I'm not as butch as I thought I was. I don't know how to put things together. So thankfully my roommate was able to help me put my TV stand and my bed together and everything like that. And I just got to work on these walls behind me. They're very bare, but I'm going to make them, hopefully by next week's episode, there'll be some things behind me on the walls and everything else. And we have a wonderful dog too. And I love it here. It's amazing. So
if you ever,
I'm sad we're not neighbors anymore, but
I'm sad about that too, but I'm looking for a new place. So if you see one next to you, let me know. And,
hey.
If you have a spot on your wall and you need a poster of somebody, holla.
We'll leave a spot for you right over here.
Okay. Well, anything else?
No, that's about it. Honestly, I think with the world on fire, the celebrity tea is at a very, very minimum, which I'm actually happy about, because if anybody tried to pull the whole "what about me" thing with all this going on right now, they will probably get red for Phil. But I will say one last thing before we go.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a nice little distraction, Drag Race All-Stars is on, and without spoiling anything, I was pretty happy with who went home.
Okay.
Sometimes when you stir the pot, it just blows up in your face, and that's all I have to say.
I can't
you can
imagine.
put two and two together.
I can't imagine that we are going to not have something important to talk about next week. But if we don't, we can talk about Drag Race All-Stars.
Oh, we definitely will.
Okay. Well, thanks for hanging out, Clifton.
Thank you.
Love you. Miss you.
Miss you too. Bye.
Bye. All right, and that was Clifton Ellison. His information was on the screen. Remember, if you're watching out there and you want to throw some coin into the Venmo of any of my contributors or guests, it's right on the screen. It's right there. Stab's information is right here above me. I was going to hold up a green fan, but it's green. You can't see it. Green screen. Anyhow, we're going to go with Mean Dave. Mean Dave, are you there? Oh.
Yeah, testicles, 1, 2.
Hey, how are you? Sorry, Justin.
Oddly enough, busy. And I'm not even participating in all of the. I mean, not because I don't want to. Well, I mean, I don't want to, but I'm not. It's not because I wouldn't want to, and I'm not there in spirit. I'm a lazy person, and I'm afraid of the cops. So I haven't, and not afraid of the coronavirus really, but I don't want to be around a large group of people that are yelling. But I'm all for them yelling because I agree with everything that's been going on the last few couple weeks. I forgot I had Facebook friends that are police officers. And I found that out after I made a joke online. I said, if you want to make a police officer know how all of this feels, just step on an innocent donut right in front of one and, make it a jelly one. And so they could really see it bleed. And one of my police officer friends clicked like on it. And so I got to say, Ronnie is one cool BART cop. But yeah, other than that, my other friend actually is a police officer. His name's Mike, and he's been to some of my comedy shows. He knows my sense of humor. It's strange to kind of look at the world right now and really see something that, when I was 13 years old, I remember I've actually had this discussion with one of the, I actually had a rant. I sent Chelsea here, who's also on your show, the other day. And she's had trouble sleeping, and all I had to do was rant, and it put her right to sleep. It was great. But what was fun was I didn't realize that I don't have many avenues to really discuss any of my perspective on any of this stuff, because also I don't feel like I'm I'm 43 years old, and like I say, I'm just kind of like, I'm quietly just waiting for, that sweet nap of peaceful eternity. And I look around at what's going on right now, and I'm like, oh, cool, the world's catching up to shit that I kind of figured out when I was 12. And that's, it's cool, and I'm really, I want to see people. It's great to watch the world grow a conscience, or try to. Really, I think the real proof in any of this stuff is, will it last? Because that's the hardest part. It's amazing when something, I wouldn't call this a trend. This is a phenomenon. This is a world thing, because it wasn't just, America that these protests are going on, that people are making statements, and people are scared shitless in power. They're being moved to either make action or to appear to make action, because they're trying to appease the masses. They're scared, and police are scared, and naturally, it's funny because the whole reason why a lot of this stuff even happens is because police act on fear, in a lot of these cases, with deep-seated prejudices, with it. I'll speak on my experience with the police. I've been very fortunate in that I've had, I don't know how many arrests. I've been arrested about like 4 times. I've had a gun drawn on me once. And the simple thing that I can say about being a police officer, it's a job I would never want, nor would I trust anybody who would want it. However, I've in the course of, growing up and then, being a drug addict, alcoholic, and running into them, and having, run into good ones and bad ones and all of that kind of stuff, I don't envy their job. And I definitely don't think that the police force I highly believe that they should be held accountable for every single infraction against the public that they commit. And the trouble that we found is they've been more of a security force for the elite. And what we're finding now is that the police, there's a quote in the movie Gangs of New York that can really illustrate all of this shit. And that's, it's a quote by one of the rich fuckers who's in it. And he says, you can always hire one half of the poor to kill the other half. And that's primarily what I find to be, the police are kind of in some cases, they're this, they're there to enforce through fear and intimidation and degradation, yet through the public relations policy of protecting and serving. Does that mean that there aren't police officers that are trying to protect and serve? No, there are. My DUI is some of the kindest CHP officers that I ever met. However, part of that is because I speak, as Dave Chappelle calls it, job interview. I speak like a white man. I grew up in the suburbs. I grew up with a solid public education. I didn't graduate college, but I could sound like I do. I'm basically a street level intellectual, and I don't really. It's one of those things where I can just tell that when an officer looks at me, as soon as they hear me start talking, they kind of like they oh, okay, he's one of those ones, and you can see it. And I've experienced, these things, but here's the thing. I don't know what I have friends with very dark skin who have dealt with all kinds of fucking, discrimination and all that kind of shit. And I don't even pretend to know what their experience is. What I do is I mostly just talk to them. I communicate with them. 3 of my closest friends in recovery just happen to be black dudes. One of them I've watched firsthand deal with. I mean, he is a dude who he's got long dreadlocks. This was a dude who lived a pretty rough life when he was out there, still in his addiction, and he lives a very spiritual life in recovery. And I watched this dude get fucked with on a regular basis by people in so many ways that it's astounding.
I'm probably not for doing anything different than what you were doing, I'm sure.
Not at all. And actually, it's funny because I've been in the car with them, and I'm not even talking about like just from police or whatever. I'm talking about like somebody, he's trying to get some services on a phone, and the way that people will talk to him on a phone, just his voice alone. And it's a strange thing to sort of, again, watch the world have to like catch up to speed, and then have it kind of almost turn into a trend. to get some action, but I'd rather something, I'd rather this be going the way that it is than nothing at all, because that's kind of what's been going on. So, and then the other thing is too, I'm a big fan of watching the conspiracy nuts and all this stuff, because sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire. And I've pretty much, grown up reading a lot on the history of intelligence work and what they call psyops and all that kind of stuff. And I don't put it past people for manipulation and all that kind of stuff, but I just don't get caught up in it. That was stuff I used to get more caught up in when I was, smoking weed and doing shrooms all the time and drinking, because a lot of, when you have an internal world of chaos, you tend to project it onto the world, and you think everybody's out to get you when you're paranoid, when the only one, so as of today, I mean, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they ain't out to get you. And it's good to just have kind of a healthy outlook on it. A lot of this stuff too is just, it reinforces my immediate world around me of how I treat people. What it boils down to, the bottom line of all this, is treating people how you wish to be treated, treating people with respect, even when you're being disrespected. It's kind of, dealing with hate with a hug. That ain't easy. I go to a meeting right now. I still go to an AA meeting where we have a lady who's 5150. She is insane. She's not on her medication. She talks out loud. She's a crazy white lady, says fucked up shit too when she's in the midst of her stuff, her outbursts. And she's somebody who's hanging out there because she's trying to not drink, but she's also somebody who doesn't exactly work a 12-step program. Yet we still have to act on principles. We can't kick her out because that's not part of our program, even though sometimes her behavior jeopardizes other people's recovery. We would love to kick her out, but we can't. And not only because it's not just because that would be we need to learn how to practice these principles to deal with an uncomfortable situation that is completely obvious. And the thing about it is, sometimes in order to make that happen, what happened last night, this lady, one of the members got in her face, and it had to intimidate her to stop acting out, which is kind of what I looked at as some of the stuff that's been going on with these protests, is that, as much as I hate looting and I hate, all the stuff that happens, not because, it's like, if you're going to loot, you don't have to break the windows, figure out a good way to break in. So you don't have to, less to clean up, or that's just my stupid response to that. But I understand that, sometimes that kind of chaos is what causes people to move. So it's like, as far as all of that shit that was going on, I hate to say, sometimes, you gotta, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Well, sometimes you gotta break that fucking wheel off if, no one's, addressing it.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, so that's just kind of like the things that have been going on right now. What I'm grateful for is that initial wave of the violence that was accompanying everything's kind of passed. And what we're getting to is an ongoing, coordinated effort on many people's parts to really address, to put pressure on accountability. We're trying to hold the culture accountable, and hold the police accountable, hold our leaders accountable. And that's a principle of recovery. I'm watching the world try to do what we say in recovery, do an inventory, and the world agrees. That's the thing about it, is you're looking at people in other countries, and they're organizing protests in places that aren't even in America. That says something. That's saying that this is kind of like this strange spiritual revolution of we see what's going on. We know that people are getting hurt, and we want to let you know that. And it's more, I know, and I was watching people get all nitpicky with the black square confusion on last Tuesday. And I'm like, yes, social media is an empty gesture and stuff, but you know what? Some people are trying who maybe never tried before. So it's, and the people that were shitting on people doing that, guess what? Spoiler alert, they were white people, mostly nitpicking about what other, non-black people were doing, trying to show solidarity. And I'm like, easy. All right. It's like, it's a, I get it with the hashtag, if you're because they were trying to get information on the BLM movement and all that part, and just let people know, but don't be treating people like assholes just because they're trying, even if it is just on social media. And I'm somebody who loves to trash people on social media. I'm the first one to do it. So if I'm defending some, hey, they're trying, fuck you. And it's mainly because I see the motherfuckers who would do that shit, and they're all these smug assholes who I know are just doing what my friend, actually, I forget what it's called. They're doing it's this performative allyship or whatever. fuck it is. It's like you're doing this because, again, you're running for the mayor of yourself, and you're trying to, you're trying to let everybody know it's more than virtual signaling. It's like, I want everybody to know I'm a good person, and I made a joke about that earlier. It's like, yeah, that they check your Twitter and your Facebook to make sure that you were good and evil before they let you into heaven or hell.
I call it churching. It's like, so it doesn't matter sometimes if you go to church, because someone's going to say, well, where'd you sit when you went? And then you're like, there. And they're like, well, you didn't sit as close as I did. And then if you do sit as close as they did, they're like, well, did you sing all the hymns? I did. And you're like, no, I sang the ones I knew. And they're like, well, did you tithe enough? It's like sometimes just being in the building, like you said, is a first step for some people. Mm-hmm. And I'm not advocating people go to church. What I am advocating is maybe letting people do what they can without, judging other people, without knowing where they're coming from, I guess.
It really boils down to communication. It's just communication. Like this is how I did my part today. My friend Akil, again, just coincidentally, black dude, he's one of my best friends from recovery. This is how I did my part. This is the message I sent him this morning. I said, hey, how are you doing? I haven't seen you in a while, and all these protests are making me feel guilty. I haven't been nice enough to you, and it's making it kind of awkward. And he said, damn, Dave, that warms my heart. I'm trying to do this fucking Zoom shit for Area. That's one of our NA meetings. And he goes, I've been chilling around the house. Dad is having surgery right now. And it was good. He says, I'm okay overall. Yeah. Thumbs up. So I did my part. There you go.
Well, thanks for doing your part.
I think that's good. I think that's my segment this week there for you. So right thanks on. Again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you again. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah.
All right. Peers and Queers, that was Mean Dave. His information was on the screen. Make sure to send a coin if you can. Shows up every week, brings a segment, and warms people's hearts out there. And he even took the week off to stop making fun of some people on the internet. So I love Mean Dave. And with that, we're going to go to Chelsea Bearce. Chelsea, are you there?
I am.
Hi. How are you?
How are you?
Good. I'm good. Yeah.
It's heavy. It's heavy this week. It's a heavy week. There's a lot of shit going on.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's why I'm good, because I'm with my friends. We're talking about important stuff. I'm not great. Right. I can't be great while everything, is the way it is.
No. You're white. You can't be great right now at all. That's against the rules. Let's talk about something equally as important as the BLM movement and stuff like that. We're still in quarantine, guys. It's still happening. We're still in quarantine. We're going to make bad decisions. How many of you have texted your exes? Let's all be honest. Suzette, have you texted an ex?
No.
You fucking liar.
I'm
Absolutely
not. I'll show you my phone. I have not texted an ex.
Have you been texted by an ex?
No. We don't leave it on good terms.
No, you're doing something wrong in a relationship. If you're not being texted by an ex at all in this quarantine, I mean, you just weren't that good in bed. Sorry about it. Okay, so here's the issue. Okay, is that we've been in quarantine now, 2 years? I mean, it's so stupid. It's a long time. And I am starting to get antsy. I'm texting people I should not be texting. It's not okay. It's not okay. So let me tell you one of the ones I'm texting, and it's really bad. Okay. I have a 4-year-old son. Okay. I have a 4-year-old son, everybody. And I have never been married, but I was engaged to be married to this guy. Okay. His dad. There's a correlation here. So I was engaged to be married to this fucking guy. And it didn't work out, and I'm going to tell you why. Okay, this is the story of how I met this piece of shit and then made a human. Okay, and now I'm like, oh, why not? It's a terrible idea. Quarantine will fuck with your mind. Okay, so I moved back to the Bay Area from New York in 2015. Go with me on this trip, y'all. Go with me on this trip. There's 8 of you. Okay, buckle up. Write it down. So I moved back from New York in 2015 in January. In February, I signed up for OkCupid because I needed to get out of my mom's house and I needed to go on dinner dates and eat for free. Okay, so I signed up for OkCupid. I go on a date with this guy, and it was great. We had drinks. He was grabbing my thigh way too early in the relationship. We were making out. Everything was copacetic. It was a very, very good time. Okay, cut to, that was February. We met. We moved in together in April. August, I was pregnant. We're fucked. That's what it was. It's way too fast. Way too fast. Suzette, have you ever been engaged to be married?
I have. I was married.
Suzette, you were married.
Mm-hmm. I'm divorced now.
Tell me quickly, like bullet points, because I have shit to do. Tell me quickly how you were asked to be married.
So I was asked to be married in like 2011. No, I'm sorry. That's when we got divorced. Mixed it up. Like how he proposed?
The year doesn't matter.
Okay.
How did the question happen? Tell me quickly how the question happened.
Very lamely at a restaurant.
It was at a restaurant.
Yeah, it was stupid.
That's it. On a knee?
No, because no. Yeah.
Oh, no. Okay. Oh, shit. I thought my story was bad, but, I mean, this segment might end right now. Bye. Okay, here's what happened. Okay, I am pregnant in August, okay? So we were doomed from the get because we only knew each other like 6 months. So we're not even, this is not even like a solid relationship. We don't really know each other, and now we have to create who we are going to be as parents, right? So we're doomed from the get. Here's what happened. I'm 8 months pregnant. Fast forward. I'm 8 months pregnant, okay? And he tells me that he wants to take me out to breakfast and then go on a hike. I'm 8 months pregnant, y'all. I'm 8 months pregnant. I weigh exactly 523 pounds, okay? And he wants to take me to breakfast, good, and then take me on a hike, bad, okay? It's not okay. So he takes me to Black Bear Diner. Now, I don't know if y'all have been there. This is the epitome of romance, okay? White tablecloths, candles, ambiance. The waiters don't write anything down. It has none of that, y'all. We're sitting on logs. It's horseshit. It's not good, okay? So we go to Black Bear Diner, right? And we're sitting there having breakfast, and he looks down and notices that I'm wearing jellies. And he said, you're not wearing hiking shoes. And I said, well, first of all, I'm 8 months pregnant and I weigh exactly 602 pounds. Secondly, I'm black, so I don't own hiking shoes. No. So then I throw a fit, he throws a fit, we end up going hiking. That's how it works. This is how much say I had in the relationship. So we go hiking, okay? Now he doesn't want to go hiking on like this terrain. No, he wants to go up a damn mountain.
And you're in jellies.
I'm aware, Suzette.
No, I'm asking. I'm making sure.
Yes, I'm in jellies,
no.
and I'm pregnant. I'm
8
8 months pregnant.
You're approximately 627 pounds.
Walking up a fucking mountain wearing jellies, my swollen ass feet are seeping through the holes in the jellies. You know what I'm talking about? There's holes in the fat ass feet seeping through the holes, and I'm climbing up this mountain, you guys. After eating Black Bear Diner breakfast, okay, I already weigh 714 pounds, okay, and I just ate Black Bear Diner breakfast, which also weighs 714 pounds. Come on. And so we started going up this hill because he said he wanted to look over the city. What? I have seen a city. I don't need to see it when I'm 8 months pregnant, wearing jellies on the side of a mountain, weighing 846 pounds. I don't need to see it. I don't. So we go up this mountain, and then he starts taking off. He's in front of me, and I'm to the point where I can't even see him anymore, right? Now, I'm big anyway, okay? But when you add an 8 month pregnant belly to these tits, do you see these?
I do.
It is heavy. It's heavy. It's ridiculous. You're welcome, viewers. Let me see if your viewers went up after that. It did. We got 9. Okay, so now we're at the top of the fucking mountain. I turn the corner, and he's down on one knee, and he shows a ring, and he says, "Will you marry me?" And I said, "Okay, sure." Because I have never I didn't know there was another answer to that question. You never see those proposals. I figured if someone asks you, that's the only answer I've ever seen. Yes, okay. So he gives me this ring. Now, Suzette, check it. Wait, Suzette, what was the ring that you got when you were engaged? Was it good? Was it a good one?
Yes, the proposal was bad, but the ring was good. It was a 2-carat princess cut diamond in a platinum band.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah,
oh
money.
my God. Okay. Mine was turquoise. Like it was a turquoise stone. That's it. It was a turquoise stone. It didn't look clean, right? And I'm like, oh. So then I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt because my birthday's in December, and I was like, oh my God, maybe he actually did, like he thought about what gemstone is December, right? No, the motherfucker didn't. I said, oh my God, what is this ring? And he said, stop laughing at me. He said,
I'm laughing at him.
Oh yeah, no, he's a piece of shit.
Because I saw that coming.
This is the point, you guys, is I texted him because I am out of options. I'm so fucking alone. I've fucked everything in my house, and now I just need something with a pulse. It's out of control. It's so stupid. Okay, so he gives me this fucking ring, okay? And it's turquoise, and I said, oh my God, thank you so much. And he said, it's been passed down in my family. It belonged to my great-grandmother. And I was like, yo, dude, this is a deep-ass ring. This carries some shit with it, right? So I was super excited. So then the next day we go to his mom's house, okay? This is after I tumbled down the fucking mountain in my jellies after weighing 973 pounds, right? So I tumble down and we go home, fine. We go to his mom's house the next day, okay? And to tell her that we're engaged now. And she sees the ring on my finger and she said, oh, that looks familiar. And I said, yeah, I bet it does. It's from your family, right? It's been passed down. She goes, no. And I said, what? And she said, no, it hasn't been passed down. When Josh, that's his name, y'all, Josh, don't fuck with Josh. He said, when Josh was a baby, we went on a road trip and we stopped at a rest stop and there was a gift shop that was next to the gas station. And I told his dad that I liked this ring and he paid for it with the gas to fill up our car. Right. Cut and print. I was like, I looked him dead in the face and he's not looking at me. He's hiding his face. And I was like, what the shit? Like, this is not from your fucking great-grandmother. It's not from your grandmother. It's barely from your fucking mom. When you said it was passed down in years, like, I'm thinking 76, not the fucking gas station 76. Like, what is this? What the hell is this? So, needless to say, we didn't get married, you guys. And I'm no longer on OkCupid. Now I'm on Bumble because fuck that. Fuck that site. See? He gets it. He gets it. So stupid. I'm single. Anyone out there? No one's straight that watches your shit, though. I don't know why I'm saying
No,
that.
we have some straight viewers.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, find me on Bumble, fuckers. I will DM you.
We can just talk about dating next time because I could use some help too.
Absolutely.
I've heard good things about Hinge. I'm not on it myself because I refuse to internet date, but I've heard really good things.
I found out about Hinge from a show that I was doing in San Francisco, and I asked a couple where they met, and they said, oh, this is our first date. And I was like, oh my God, that's like Christmas for a stand-up, right? So they were on a first date, and I said, where did you meet? They said online, and I said, which app or website did you use? And they said, Hinge. And I said, Hinge? I just learned about Bumble. What the fuck is Hinge? And this bitch looks me dead in the face, and she goes, oh, you wouldn't know about that one. It's the classy one. That's what she said. I know. I know.
She was white?
Huh?
She was white?
She was white.
Yeah.
But the dude was black, though.
So she was just saying you're not classy just by looking at you. It didn't have to do with who you, like your ethnicity.
Turn the shade down just a little bit.
No. I mean, that's her shade. That's not my shade. You know I love you.
Right. You don't need to say it. Ooh,
No, that's on her. That was on her. She didn't know who she was talking to. She didn't know she was talking to Ursula the Sea Witch, who could destroy her.
Oh shit, that is me. Oh hey, bitch. Yes. No, it's true. And so, but now I have a roommate, and the two of us are so painfully single. Actually, she went on a date just before quarantine. She went on a I don't know if I've told you this. She went on a second date with this guy, right? Second date, which means she went on a first date with this guy, okay? She goes out on a second date with this guy, and she sends me a text message. Swear to God. I swear to God. She sends me a text message, and it says, OMG, how did I not realize this guy doesn't have any teeth? I swear to God. That's what I know. It's so true. That is dead ass what happened. And I was hosting a show. When this shit happened. I'm not kidding. I was hosting my own show. And right when she said that, the comic on stage was like, thank you, that's my time. So I read that and had to run on stage, and I'm crying with laughter. I cannot hold it together, right? And ever since then, like now, like she's been like, you know, meeting people and stuff like that and blah, 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 blah. But because I asked her so many questions. I was like, how did you not notice that this fucker didn't have any teeth? Did he not eat in front of you? Did he not talk in front of you? Like, what
was the date? Was it go-karts and he was wearing a helmet the whole time and then he said goodbye with the helmet on and then she left?
Even
like,
if it was go-karts, you don't show up to go-karts in a fucking helmet.
You do if you don't have teeth?
No, you don't wear a helmet. Like, no. So now I told her, I said, you have to ask specific. Now she goes on dates and she only asks questions that have TH in them. You know, she's like, what's your favorite day of the week between Wednesday and Friday? You know, like just like because now she's got like full on PTS teeth. Like, I don't know. It's bad. It's bad. And now she'll go to the grocery store, which is already a huge production to go to the fucking grocery store. Mm-hmm. And she'll be like, oh my God, I saw the cutest checker. And I was like, bitch, we're all in masks. Okay? None of these fuckers could have teeth. Stop. It's not good. We're really single. It's a sad house.
Well, when, you know, restrictions are lifted a little bit, I'll come and we can just all be single and have a night about it.
Good. Yeah, let's make it even sadder. That's great. Okay.
Well,
yeah,
we can brainstorm a solution. I don't know. You know what? I've never dated anyone with no teeth though. That's I have something up on her. So
you and me both, sister.
So I have some questions for you.
Oh, great.
Okay. So does this segment have a name yet?
No.
Okay.
I never know what I'm going to talk about until I log in. Like, I'm like, I don't know. I have no clue.
That's cool. I just, you know, every like month or two I got to ask. All right. You decimated one of my questions that I ask my interview guests. Which Disney princess am I? And you want me to retire that question, which I will respectfully do that.
No one will ever answer that question better than me. You asked which Disney princess you are, and I said you are Ariel. Except you're fucking Ariel when she turns into a fucking human, and she can't speak, and she has no idea how to walk. Boom, nailed it.
You did.
Next.
I said you decimated it. Okay, so what should I ask my interview guest instead of that, since you destroyed that question?
Oh, Jesus. Does it have to be about you? Is this, what, the Suzette Veneti show?
I mean, it actually is. It's awkward, but I think it's kind of fun because then it lets the guest poke some shade back. But
okay.
That's why I like that question. But, you know, I don't know what to ask now because you destroyed it.
I know. It's too good.
Mm-hmm.
It's way too good. But don't you ask them which Disney princess they are? Isn't that what you still ask your guest?
Well, I was just going to retire both of them.
Oh, you're retiring the whole Disney thing.
Yeah, I mean, I can still ask which one are you, I guess. All
right. Well, how about you ask what you're like, what their favorite like 80s or 90s like movie is? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be necessarily Disney related, but or what their favorite genre of movie is or anything like that. Because favorite movies, I think, tell a lot about a person.
Yeah, but that doesn't have anything to do with me. No, I'm kidding. I could ask that question. I'll try it out.
I don't care. It's not my show. I don't care. I don't even know what to call my fucking segment. So don't even.
Well, yeah, no. This wasn't like you have to. You know, I'm asking for your help. This was like, bitch, you broke the question, so now you have to replace it with something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Maybe by next week. Maybe that'll be my segment.
It's a sign of respect, really.
Yeah. Next week I'll come with better questions than Suzette's. Boom.
I love you. All right. Well, we have a lot to talk about next week. Dating,
Yeah, I can't wait.
questions. Thank you so much for being here. Are you staying safe amongst the quarantine and the civil unrest?
Yeah, bitch, I don't leave. I don't go anywhere. No, I'm here in my house in the sad sack of walls. I'm not doing, yeah, I'm safe. Yeah, fine.
Well, I mean, you're texting your ex, so you might go somewhere.
Ooh, bitch. All right, segment's done. Bye. Have a good night.
I was going to say, don't go to the rest stop gas station. That ring was unleaded. Thanks for coming on. Huh?
That was kind of cute. It was almost a joke. It's good.
Oh, did you hear my 90 fiance joke?
I did.
Did you
I did.
you like it?
Yeah, it was fine. I'm so addicted to that show. It's so stupid. Oh my God, I can't. I'm so addicted to that show. And I don't know, it's weird because I'll watch that show and it will equally make me like super jealous that they're in a relationship, but also make me never want to be in a relationship again. Like, it's crazy what that show does. It's like watching Intervention. I watch Intervention and I need a drink to get through it. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me at all. I think it's doing the wrong things. I'm sorry. I'm crazy today. I had coffee at like 6 p.m., so it's not good. I'm insane today. I'm so sorry.
I'm just more speechless on that. I don't know what to say to that. But then that made me speechless because I did have something to say about the no teeth date. So I don't know where to go from here.
Yeah, no, we can just end it. Go to someone real. Bye. Love you.
Love you too. Bye. Happy Pride. Okay. Peers and Queers, that was Chelsea Bearce. Her information was on the screen. Make sure to send some coin if you can. She is here every week and helps make the show better, just like Clifton and me and Dave. Send them some coin too. And with that, we're going to go to our first interview guest this week. Let me pull up the intro and actually do this right. He's seemingly always on the road or in a podcast studio. He just recorded a special for Dry Bar. Peers and Queers, Mike Masilotti.
Hey.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Good. How you doing, Suzette?
Tired, hot, concerned about the world. How are you?
Yeah. I'm doing all right. I'm doing pretty, all things considered, pretty decent, but, kind of a bummer week overall, but trying to be positive about everything,
Yeah, hopefully hopefully everything leads to change,
Yeah.
And I was thinking when me and Dave was talking to me, sometimes it's better to take the long road to get there, because he was like, I can't believe we have to, and Clifton said the same thing. It's crazy that all this has to happen just for equality. And it's like, yeah. That's true, but hopefully we get there. Hopefully the long journey gives us something. So it is crazy. What have you been up to during the pandemic?
Luckily, I have a podcast studio I opened up about a year ago now in like the Miracle Mile in LA. And it adheres to all the quarantine guidelines, the 6 feet away, and it's media, so we're allowed to stay open. So that's kind of awesome. So I've just been, our clientele went down a little bit, but just been trying to help people, keep their voices out there. And, for a lot of people that are, I don't know, a lot of times when this stuff happens, you don't think that your opinion matters as much. Then we start talking, like I keep hearing different people say maybe one line out of an hour of listening to them talk that completely changes the way I think about a topic. And for instance, I was listening to this guy, Rob Parker, who's a sports analyst, talking about the whole Colin Kaepernick thing. And they were saying that, the percentage of black people that are in the military it's way higher than any other percentage of any other group in the military. Really? So like, I didn't even know that. And it's like these things you don't think about, like, even in the civil or like all these different wars, like when like people, a lot of my black friends tell me their families were like fighting for the country when the country wasn't even fighting for them in a way with their rights. And that kind of opens your eyes a lot. Like I look very white, but I'm actually from, my family's from Venezuela. So I grew up, like my parents are immigrants, my brother and sister are immigrants. But it sounds really weird to say, but like I always got made fun of out of all my family for being like more of the white kind of gringo looking one. And joking around with them, I was like, I see how we get treated differently, literally the same blood, just a little different like tone of our skin. And it is kind of eye-opening when, you get to people, I don't know, it's like I feel like a sheep in wolf's clothing in a weird way, if that makes sense. Not saying all black people are wolves, or white people are wolves, but it's just like people come up to me assuming I have this giant like history, I'm a balding white guy, but to me, I got I got the Venezuelan flag, right? Like this is my love and my blood. So it's kind of weird. So I always try to remember that too, when you see different people, trying to assume too much, not only just by how they look, but everyone goes through, in your life, the different people you meet, the different experiences you have. So it is kind of cool. I do like that everyone has the ability to talk about their own experiences, because I think that does matter. We all can help each other realize stuff, because everyone's a lot deeper than they look,
Yeah, no, that's something we talked about with me and Dave, and I know Chelsea's kind of the same, is maybe everyone's journey is different, and maybe you're different than what people assume automatically. So you're right. You're dead on.
Yeah. I also think we might be at different points in our journey, because sometimes when people come at me all they might be there already and they're getting mad at how other people think, it's hey man, 5 years ago, I wasn't mentally there and I am now. So be patient with the people that aren't there yet, rather than just, swear them off they're never going to learn. They're on their own process. And the more that we're supportive to people, even if they disagree, then the more that they can actually see, why we think the way we do. And just, it sounds so simple to me, which is just act the way you want other people to act toward you. It's just simple stuff that I feel as an adult, it's embarrassing to look at. If we just stick to treat people the way you want to be treated, just don't. It's just simple. It's embarrassing that not even just a country, as a world, that we are still dealing with these issues overall. At this point, it's 2020. And we're talking about. There's literally protests and marches over equality. It's crazy to me. This is such a weird time, but at the same time, I love that everyone finally feels we're all on the streets and marching, and everyone's you feel this love. It's awesome. I've never felt that. I've been to a couple of protests, and it really is this, people want a change, and I feel it's going to happen. There's no way it's not going to happen with the anger and love people have together. That's what changes stuff. You smash that into one ball, and then, I feel I've already seen a lot of changes, even the way people are talking and being held accountable. That's the main thing. Too many people aren't being held accountable. And lately, I think that we're thinking about that more and speaking a little bit more with reason rather than just to speak,
I think speaking with reason and listening, and like you said, people are in different places in their journey, and it's important when you find someone in a different place for both parties, for the one party to be willing to listen and the other party be willing to explain. You can't just yell at someone and say you're doing it wrong. You suck. Get out of here. You need to say you need to find them on their level, and they need to be willing to meet you in the middle, and then there needs to be dialogue and a communication.
Yeah. But it's great seeing the amount of people coming out is just massive all around the country. So with all the negativity and the sourness I've been feeling, that does make me feel a lot better. Just the vast numbers of people that are just we're kind of just tired of the same old. So, with all the Corona stuff happening, I feel it's that weird perfect storm where everyone's at home and ready for anything to pop off. And then luckily it was something that can actually change, rather than Tiger King being what everyone talks about for a month. This is a positive thing that we can all talk about for a month. So it's pretty cool that we're at that point. But again, it's a little embarrassing, but it's cool that we're getting there. I do think the next generation of people just coming through, and everyone's getting a little bit more, they're realizing coming together and positive voices and energy together, that changes stuff. And I'm excited honestly to see where this is all going to end up, because it feels like everyone's just on that, closer on the same page with what we want as what we accept, you know what I mean? Yeah. So.
Are you finding that because your podcast at your studio, they're still running, like you said, it's important for people to still have a voice. Are you finding that, for instance, you have a podcast that you produce called The Fuckboy Helpline?
Yeah.
Are you finding that the topics are kind of shading towards what's going on?
So I've noticed a couple of the podcasts took a week off this week. I have one that's we just do a lot of news stories, and I took the week off because I didn't want to just joke, or it was all about just joking around about the news. I didn't really want to joke around about this stuff. It just seems a little bit too real, and it's some things I'm just I just want to kind of glance over that, but I also don't want to ignore it. because then that seems also disingenuous, just ignoring what's going on. So I noticed a couple podcasts took a week off, but we have some really, honestly, there's this podcast called Hood Take and Hella Vibes that these young Black kids out of Compton come through, and it's 2 different podcasts back to back. And it was one of the most, eye-opening podcasts for me to watch, because this is just them speaking from like what they've lived through, like, and they're a lot of the dudes tell me they're athletes. Like the one dude was in the G League in the NBA that was a guest on, talking about some of his bad experiences with the police when he invited them into his house because he was playing a video game and he was being loud because he was losing, and someone accused him of being in a domestic violence disturbance because they heard him swearing, and he threw his controller. But then the cops came in, they're looking for someone. It's like the benefit of the doubt is instantly not there. And this guy was even like, he's in a nice house, he's got money. He's like, how much further do I have to get in my career before I can get any kind of love my way? So it's been I will say the new podcast coming through. A lot of the people that do talk about it are getting awesome and real with it. But I did notice a lot of people kind of taking the week off to give the platform, or if they just didn't feel like, my podcast is so new. If we were going on longer, I probably wouldn't have taken. We've only done 2 episodes on my other one, Best Champions, and I was like, I just want to take this week off. But it's hard not to talk about what's going on, but it's also, you don't want to be a broken record. So,
where can people find the podcast that you produce, like the 2 podcasts that you were just mentioning?
Fuckboy Helpline, you can check out on YouTube.
Not that. The two from the guys.
Oh, the other ones. Oh,
I mean, Fuckboy Helpline too. All of them.
No.
Where can people find all of the podcasts in your studio?
Well, Hood Take and Hella Vibes are both on, I guess on Facebook or YouTube. You could look them up, or on Instagram. Denzel Diggs is the host, and he usually live streams them every Saturday through his page. He's the host of Hood Take, and he's one of the co-hosts on Hella Vibes. But it's very, I love the podcast studio for the one fact of like this. Like I met these people a couple months ago, and now we talk all week. They're some of my most exciting people to come over. And then when this happened, it was such a, like, they're going to be the guests on my podcast this week. Wednesday night we'll be streaming at 9 p.m. on my Best Champions podcast or my page, and Hood Take will be on, and we'll be taught that. I feel like that it was already booked, but it's like it couldn't be more of a perfect first group of people to have on after all this. And yeah, it's pretty cool that, like, thankfully a lot of small businesses had to shut down, and luckily we fell under the umbrella that got to stay open. So.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm really grateful to be able to do it here at the Stab Comedy Theater. And, we considered, like, should we do it or not? But I think we cover the issue in a respectful way. And luckily they were okay with us doing it. So I was, I don't want to go away because I want to keep the dialogue out there. But I am lucky, and I have them let me do it here. You are smart and resourceful, and you built your own podcast studio. Why did you decide to do that?
Honestly, I just built one in my room in Seattle like 4 years ago, just because I wanted my own podcast. And it started with, you plug in a microphone to a recorder, and then after like 4 months, it's like, all right, well, let's get a camera. And then after the camera, it's like, I get 2 cameras. And then it got to the point where my actual apartment, I would have it look like a recording studio just on camera. So if you look to the left or right of the camera, it's my living room and my kitchen. But you would see on like the studio, then people started hitting me up asking like, hey man, it's a beautiful studio. How much do you charge to rent it? And I had to let them know, like, oh, this is my apartment. This isn't for rent. And then like literally a couple months of that went by, and I just thought, like, I think other people might use this. So me and my buddy Nolan Culver, we built it was the smallest space you could fit 4 people in. And it just started, the first couple months were brutal, like really rough. And then little by little, it started picking up, and we moved to a bigger space, which I'm so proud of now. And like, we're talking about multiple locations by the end of the year. So it's been the craziest from my room to like, our own office building with our own concierge. It's like, it's just great how it worked out. But it was literally, it was for me. And a lot of times when you do things for yourself, because they work, other people, would want to use it as well. So luckily people are enjoying it.
Right on. Are there any personalized modifications or good luck charms in the studio that help you stay hilarious?
We have a couple of, this is a corny thing for me. I have a microphone. When I was doing stand-up in Seattle, the producer microphone is actually the microphone from the stage at that comedy club. They had to buy a new mic one day, and when I took that mic, I was like, that's the first mic I used there, and so many different big comics I liked and respected used that microphone. So it's in the studio, and the producers probably look at it like, this is this old garbage mic. Why don't we use the nice ones like everyone else? But to me, it's like, it all started with me doing stand-up, honestly, for all this to even build. So that microphone means so much to me, and it's there, and we'll probably replace it one day, but that's, for me, it being there is pretty sweet, just, to feel the like
history. Me
being a door guy at a comedy club, like not being heard, not being seen or listened to, really just walked by every day, to 7 years later, I have a podcast studio and I feel comfortable on stage. And so that microphone really reminds me of like where it started and, the difference where it's going to be,
That's really cool. What do you like about podcasting?
Honestly, I think podcasting, like I do stand-up, I love stand-up, but I think podcasting is the realest form of a person. Because when I do my act on stage, I practice it every night. I go over what I'm going to say. You find the right words. You might riff a little bit if someone says something, and then you can joke around and then make something funny on the moment. But for the most part, you pretty much know what you're going to say and hope that the audience laughs when they should. But it does feel sometimes like it's so rehearsed that when I do a podcast, it's just me, what I feel, what I think, my thoughts right now. And that to me is like, I connect more with comics. I think I listen to more comics podcasts than even their stand-up. Like when their stand-up comes out, I'm excited to hear it a little bit, but it's like, man, I listen to you for an hour every week talking like a person. When I hear you on the stage, you can kind of feel the act a little bit, and it just seems a little bit less genuine, and a podcast is just as real as it gets to me, as long as people are being honest. And I try to be nothing but honest when I talk, because there's no reason to talk if you're not going to, speak the truth, or your truth at least. Yeah,
no, genuine honesty is good. You answered, I had a question, but I think you answered it. It was, what are the advantages or disadvantages to podcasting over performing live? And you, you knocked that one out of the park. To stand up, you just filmed a special.
Yeah, I just actually, it was the last special, like comedy, like that weekend, everything shut down March 14th. Mm-hmm. I flew out to Provo, Utah, and they almost didn't film. We were like the last group before quarantine shut everything down. And looking back, I am so glad we filmed, because I went on the road for like 2 weeks on the East Coast, and then I had a couple weekends of just a lot of work lined up to get the thing filmed. And I was super nervous. It was PG clean, which is, I'm not a clean comic, but most of my jokes are just about growing up and my life. So I just edited it a little bit, but I was so stressed out. But luckily, if it got canceled, I couldn't even think of going up. Now, I don't remember any of my jokes. I had to do a Zoom show a week ago, and I was laughing between every joke, being like, I have no idea how this goes. I got to re-listen to my set. So I'm so thankful that I got to record that before the quarantine, because that would have been brutal having to do after. But yeah, I don't know. It should be coming out hopefully at the end of June or July. It's with Dry Bar Comedy. They do a great job promoting their stuff, and I felt really good about it. I know it had to be clean, but I don't feel like I wasn't me, which is what I wanted. Like, I didn't want to like come across like a robot that's just saying this stuff to like, put out this special. I actually feel like it talks about like me growing up, my life, and then my relationship right now. And it was, I was really happy with, I haven't seen it turn out, but I was happy with the recording for what it was.
Yeah, I think, I was surprised. I needed to film a clean audition tape for somebody over the summer. We'll see if I get to do it, if anyone opens up. And I went through my jokes with one of my mentors, and he said, this one's clean. And I was like, no, it's not. And he was like, sure, don't say this word, or just change it to this word, and it's completely clean. And I was like, oh, wow, you're right. Like, because you can allude to things, you just can't outright say it. So.
Yeah, and it actually makes me, I was actually really surprised I had this one joke, and it's basically the your rating, it's just like a rating system, it's going up and down. And the one rating, I was like, about a girl, you find out she's bi, and the number goes up, but I couldn't say that on stage. And the whole week I couldn't figure out what to use. And then when I did it live, I just said, she's a gymnast. And then the number went up and the place leveled. And I felt so good that I found a clean equivalent for this thing I was trying, like, it felt like, realistically, I feel like I'm gonna even keep that line in. It was so it's so much, like you said, it alludes to the thing. Like you just have to write better. You have to draw the picture for them to say without me saying it. And then that's just, so it is kind of fun. And it's harder, like a lot of people, it's hard to get booked, especially coming up. So I always tell people, if you can be clean, I get it as a promoter, or so I used to run the Comedy Underground in Seattle for a while. And, when you're booking a show, like they're there to see the headliner. So anyone goes up beforehand that ruins the show, it sucks, So like when you're a headliner, I'm always like, just put, go balls out, do whatever you want. That's your show. But I'm always so nervous about beforehand saying, I just don't want to wreck the mood. So I always tell people, like, if you can be cleaner, not clean, but cleaner, like it usually you'll get booked a lot more. And that's in the beginning, more bookings gets us better quicker. And that gets us to a headliner quick. So I don't know, but.
No, definitely. I think that's important. So that kind of answers my next question. I was going to ask what you did to prepare for the special. Was there anything else besides kind of tweaking a couple jokes that you did for the special to prepare that you don't normally do?
What's so funny is I had to do a couple things that I didn't even think about until last, like I shave my face every day, but it's like, I'm going to have cameras on me. I can't mess up shaving my face. So I went to a guy to do it. And then when he shaved me, I wasn't stoked on it. And I was like, oh yeah, why am I going to do a new look the day of? And thinking about what you're going to wear. I try to look nice on stage, but I never really think about it. And this was like, I had to get the outfit ready. I had to like make sure you look like the way I wanted to. It's like, I wanted to look like me, but how do I look the most like me? Yeah. So that preparing that got me a little bit more nervous. It's like, I just hope I look the way I feel I am every day. I don't want to like dress up for the special, but then look different when they come see me live. So a lot of it was just that, but luckily I went on the road, and we were on the road when I got the date. So it was one of those I'm so fortunate. I actually said no. They sent me a date, and I said no because I felt it was too soon. And then they didn't write me back. And then I told my friend that, and he yelled at me. He's like, "Are you kidding me? Say yes, say yes." I wrote them back freaking out. Like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I can do the date. I'll do whatever." And then they instantly wrote me back like, "Okay, you got it." And I was on the road, so mostly like from that second was like, okay, no more being dirty on the road. And it was just trying to be clean, because it was like, you can't say "oh my God" because it was Mormon stuff. So like, even you can't say "damn." It was brutal. Yeah. So I feel like I did a good job. I feel like I was me, but a lot of it was just in my head of like, man, please don't swear. I just swear when I talk because like that's how I am. And so preparing it was really just thinking a lot when I was on stage, because usually I'll just talk and like, if I swear it doesn't matter, but on this, it's like I don't want to I don't want to say something that offends the room accidentally, and then boom, there goes the whole show. So it was just practicing speaking with like how we say before, speaking with purpose. When I'm on stage, I just talk and try to be funny. But when I was doing this, it's like, you don't want to accidentally say something. And then like I stopped myself from saying shit once, and then it threw me off the next minute because I was just not myself. So it was just practicing what I was saying as I was saying. It was weird. I honestly, I'll be honest, I hated the second I knew I was going to record, I was just nervous. I was trying too hard. And then like after I filmed it, I'm glad. It's just one of those things, like it's never going to be 100% what people are going to see you live. But the closest I could get to that was, at least realizing how I'm being on stage. So yeah, it's just weird, just practicing what I am, like filming yourself a lot already. That was huge. Like I film myself every night and started watching if I touch my face too much, am I leaning on the stool? What am I doing? That's what I did in the beginning. Like I'm like, oh, I don't like when I do that. Or, ooh, I love when I do that. And then it's like so it felt like I was trying to do too much though to get ready. So hopefully it was all right.
I'm sure, yeah. I can't wait to see it. And let me know when it's out. I'm sure I'll see your post, but I'm excited. I did have one more question about the special. How much did the reaction from the crowd play into anything you did? Like, were there any moments or was there anything unique about that atmosphere, that stage, that crowd that kind of played into the final product?
Yeah, actually the first show I was really tight and nervous, just trying to make sure I did every joke I wanted to do and did it right. And then because of the pandemic, there was less people in the audience, and usually it's packed, sold out. There's an upper deck that's all sold out. So the first show had about 100 people, second show had about 60. And the second show, I felt like I was pulling teeth, but within that, it made me, it's like that fight or flight response, which I started performing more like me. And I feel like the laughs I was getting on the late show, I earned those because they were kind of arms crossed, kind of looking at me a little, not feeling me. I could tell, like, my look is very weird. I used to play in metal bands. I got tattoos. I got my ears gauged out. Like, it's very, people, especially when you're in like Provo, Utah, is very Mormon, very clean cut place. They were kind of judging me like, this guy's not going to be my cup of tea. So it was definitely a battle, but I won them. I know I got it. And it felt so good. Like, the first show again was like, they were for me, they were with me. I could just wave and they would go nuts. And the late show, like, I'm excited to see the clips from the late show because it felt like work. It was definitely, you know, they know you're getting filmed, so they're kind of with you. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, they're only with you for a couple minutes, and then it's like, all right, be funny. Yeah. And then we can get a genuine reaction. But it was hard. The younger audiences, for some reason, younger audiences are so hard. When I started doing stand-up, I see older people, I mean older as in, you know, I'm 34. If you're in your 30s and older, I love that, man. At first, I thought young kids will love me. They're gonna, so it's harder. I feel like it's get them to, you know, dig what I'm saying. But
yeah, are you gonna know when the special comes out? Are they gonna stitch the two together? Will you know if something's from the first show or the second show?
I think I'll know because of how I performed. But they are gonna stitch them together. I'm not sure which is what, but I did do a couple jokes. I only got to 25 minutes. So I did a couple of jokes on each one. That was like a one-off. So hopefully they might be able to put it together for 30. But I'm not sure what they're going to use from each show. But I will say the first show, I feel like it was better, like crowd response wise, as in like they were just so hot. The late show, I hope they use more of because those to me, like I got a couple of applause breaks right after a joke bombed, which is the best feeling when it's like, oh, they don't like that, and then you're just kind of. I feel like you're kind of a quarterback. Like I know my material and what order it's in. Mm-hmm. At a certain point, if they're not feeling me going this way, it's like I feel like I'm a quarterback. I look at the playbook. You call an audible last minute, like, okay, no running play. Let's do a passing play. And then you do that, and then they start laughing, and it feels so good when like you read them right. Because but I only had so much material. I kind of had to go through all of it. I just wanted to make sure it's in the right order because sometimes, if you're talking too long, jokes too long, you just lose people. So it was interesting. It was a great first experience, though.
Well, if I'm the editor, I think what I would do based on what you said is I would just take your better performance from the second show and put it with the good laughter of the first show. Just stitch it together that way. You drive. You mentioned you were on the road when you got the news and you got the offer. You drive so much for comedy. Do you have any tips for long distance driving or for maybe comics that are thinking like, oh boy, I want to go on the road. It looks fun.
Oh yeah. I mean, honestly, learn to love long days. It is like, this is like, I was in Seattle and I would drive from Seattle to LA in 16 hours to do a gig and then drive back to Oregon to do a gig, 17 hours, like sleep in your car. It's brutal, but it's when you get those hotel rooms randomly, it is the best. Like a Motel 6 for free from telling jokes feels like you're in a Hyatt. Like it's just the emotions you get from the little victories are worth it. But it's brutal. But just make your car comfortable. I had a Prius. I killed it. I literally drove it into the ground. I had to buy a new car and I tinted it. I had to tint it out so I could sleep in it because that's how I save money a lot of times. Like that's the benefit, honestly, of being a kind of a guy on the road. A lot of the girls I do comedy with, like I feel like we talk about it. It's like I would never recommend like them sleeping a lot of I wouldn't want to sleep in a lot of places I sleep, to be honest. It's just when I'm looking at a hotel for $80 or me in the car and saving that money, it's like it is hard, but the harder it is, I do think it makes everything sweeter when you get it. Like when I got the special, that paycheck from that was amazing compared to I'm driving up and down the coast getting pennies, really breaking even a ton, selling merch. But it's just, if you don't love it, it's just with anything. If you love it, you're going to love even the bad parts. Like when I'm doing a 16-hour drive, honestly, at hour, 12 hours in, I pull over and I see the sunset and I just sit on my car for a minute and just enjoy it. I bring my drone camera with me so I can, fly it around and get some great shots of nature. Like really don't be in a rush. That weird. It's just, it's already hard. Don't make it harder. And I feel like, the road dog life is not for everybody, but I love that I kind of am doing it. But, bring a cooler, bring snacks, always have a ton of water, blanket. Also, my trunk, I have a basketball, a football, baseball gloves in my trunk. So I'll go to a park and I'll flag down people playing baseball. Stay active. I feel like I take better care of myself on the road, honestly. Like when I'm at home, I'm at my apartment all day. I don't go on a lot of walks. I sit at my computer. When I'm on the road, I'm checking out the city, I'm going on hikes. So that's you can feel the lifestyle, but it's hard, but it's worth it.
What's your craziest road story?
Oh my God, man. This is, I did a show in Sacramento at the Comedy Spot. And these two girls, this is going to be a little inappropriate, but these two girls came up to me after the show and we were all talking and it was great. And they were just asking me if I wanted to go dancing afterwards. And there was a lot of awesome bars around the corner. And we went to this, I don't know the name of it. Oh shit, Sacramento. It was a two-story bar, like right across the street from the Comedy Spot, like half a block down. And this place was popping. Like, it might have been 3 stories. It was multiple level.
With faces?
Yes. Yes. And then we get in there and it was so much fun. I'm dancing with 2 girls and they're both kissing me and I was just like, this is the best night of my life. It was so great. And this is where the mistake happened, right? Like everyone's like getting handsy. We moved to the second floor, third floor, and I feel like the higher up you get, the more deviant stuff's happened. Like, it's great. Then the one girl looks at her friend, looks at me, and she's like, "Hey, I own a restaurant down the street. Like, you guys want to kind of go there?" And we're gonna. Yes. But the problem was, this is when we were in the gay bar with the lights, the music, the energy. The people was there. You walk out front, and you're in the street, people arguing, yelling. And the sexual energy went away almost immediately. We're waiting for a lift. And it was taking way too long, and one canceled. And I could just feel like this is not happening. And the one girl, she started texting her friend, and then we tried to get back into the bar. The girl trips on her way in. They think she's too drunk. They let us back in the place that to me was like the best thing I was doing in the last year, like moment. So we're outside, and we get inside, and they ended up getting a ride home themselves. But right before I Hail Mary, and I was like, let's all kiss. And then we just like triple kiss and made out for like 5 minutes on the corner. And then their lift pulled up and they both left. And I just literally yelled in the middle of the street, "Ah!" And then just walked to my car. My buddies were waiting for me, and then we drove to LA.
That is a good story. It's different than what I thought you were gonna. I thought you were gonna talk about your clip of you doing shrooms and doing stand-up.
Yeah, I don't remember a lot of that. I remember doing the mushrooms. It went viral. I did a set on mushrooms. It was a weed show. Basically, the background is everyone just smokes weed and gets really fucked up. I smoke weed a lot. So my friend Leafly was there, and my friend was like, "Hey, they might sponsor one of our tours. They just want to see what the show's all about. Do you mind going a little bit bigger?" And I was like, "What do you got?" And he said, "I got a bunch of mushrooms." I said, "No problem." I just put them in my top pocket, and during the night, I was just eating them. And then I reached in, and they were empty. And I instantly had a panic attack. Like, oh my God, I just ate all the mushrooms. Started freaking out, and I was trying to talk myself down. And then he just like, "Hey man, you got to go on stage in 5 minutes." I really barely remember going on stage. I remember walking off the stage and thinking, I was like, that was crazy. Like, that was a little, I'm on mushrooms, but something happened there. That was a special set. And I walked around the building a couple times. I was so high. And then I just went home. And then I think 3 months later, roughly 3 months later, Leafly, they loved the show, put us on the road. We were actually together, me and Billy were on the road. And this is so crazy. The next time we did mushrooms, from that time, we were at Universal together in Seattle in the middle of a road trip. In LA, we had 1 day off. We're at Universal walking around, and I posted the mushroom video that morning. And I looked down, and it's just, getting hit after hit after hit. And I'm on mushrooms looking at this, like, what the hell? And my friend was like, "Yo, put your phone away. Your video's popping right now. It's gonna be nuts. Enjoy the day." So we enjoyed the day at the Universal after I opened my phone. And it was, friends, family, everyone's blowing up. "Bro, I'm seeing this video everywhere." But it was so funny. Like, I don't remember that night as much as I remember the actual thing going big, viral. But
Weird. Where did you film the one when you did the mushrooms? Where was that at?
Jai Thai in Seattle, which is now Broadway Comedy Club. And it's on in Cap Hill, Seattle, back of a Thai restaurant. It was packed to the gills. I mean, those shows were bumping. It was the Gateway show, which is a really fun weed show, but like it was like a perfect storm. And it was just one of those sets where I didn't tell any jokes. I just spoke, and just like whenever I do a high set, I try not to tell jokes. I just want to talk. And I guess it went well. It felt good. And I literally remember when I, like, even like months later before I even posted it, thinking back, like, maybe I should post that video. I feel like that was like a special set. And I asked Billy for it. I laughed when he watched it, and then, yeah, it was crazy.
Right on. When all your travels, what's your favorite road city?
Ooh, favorite road city. Honestly, I've only been at Denver. So fun. I've only been there a handful of times, but wow, it's like you fly in and it's like just jumping on the train right to the downtown. You see the city right when you get there. You see, I think it's Coors Field, if it's still named that, baseball stadium the Rockies played. Mm-hmm. It's just beautiful. The crowds were great. The people out there were awesome. It's like, honestly, my top three would be Denver, Sacramento, and San Diego. I would go because San Diego, I just always had a good time there. The comics, it's more of the comics and the scene there. And Sacramento, when we were going up constantly, and I've had some of the best sets of my life at the Comedy Spot on some of these tours. And I just think in general, the vibe of the people in those three cities is like youthful, but like smart, but not annoyingly smart. It was just, yeah, it was just great. I love going everywhere. I go all over the place, but so far those always stood out to me.
Right on. Well, anytime I see you in Sacramento, you're just here for like 2 hours. And then you leave. Yeah. If you're ever here longer, I'll have to take you around and show you, like, here at Stab, and
I'd love to.
And the bar across the street from Faces, which is my favorite one. So it's just gonna have to be when you're here for, like, I don't know, like 5 hours.
Yeah, most definitely.
Do you have a favorite road snack when you're on the road?
Almonds. It's weird. I don't eat. I'm really bad at eating. I know it sounds terrible. I like try to eat. It's like one of those, like, every time I eat, I'm like, again, I got to eat again, like 3 times. Like I know my friends always yell at me like, oh, I wish I had that problem. But it's like, it's actually not that best because I'll be on the road sometimes and like forget to eat. It's like 8 hours goes by and I start feeling nauseous. And like, I just know almonds, like that's quick protein. Like it makes me feel solid. It's a good energy boost in the morning, or I'll just drink like a protein shake for breakfast. But that kind of shit, just like simple protein. Cause like when you're in a car for that long, you forget that like, oh, I need another meal. Oh, it's been 8 hours. I need to eat again.
Yeah.
So like that's a big one. But I mean, honestly, just I smoke so much weed that like the entire time that gets me through. Just like, I mean, I call people, do whatever, but like that's like I consider that a snack. I probably smoke way more than I eat. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's fine. I think that's also what the Scooby snacks were in Scooby-Doo. So. That works. So you have a live show when you're in LA. Tell me about that.
We were doing a live show at the the Hollywood Improv. It was called Comedy Reel, which it's really fun. The basic idea was every comic usually has multiple talents. People do sketches, they sing, they dance, do whatever. So we play a video from a comic showing one of their different talents. Like somebody was in a commercial. Even if you were just in the background, like someone did 3 lines in a Clint Eastwood movie, and we played her 3-line clip, and then they go up and do stand-up afterwards. So just tries to show, you know, it could be someone's vlog, it could be, we've had to the point where it was just someone made a YouTube story that was hilarious, and we shared that. So the idea is just, you know, a different kind of media, a multimedia experience where, you know, you could get to see a lot of, I mean, most stand-up comics I meet were either musicians before, they were in theater before, they were in dance before, like everyone does other things. So I just try to highlight that for the show.
That's cool. And are you going to bring that back after quarantine?
The plan is to bring it back after quarantine. We'll see. Well, I mean, right now it looks like I'm not sure what clubs are opening up and when. So I would love to do that. But if I start, you know, if I'm on the road a lot more, because when the special comes out, that to me is hopefully that'll get me, like I'm going to message every city across the country. And if I can be in a different city every weekend, that's my goal. So that might kind of push the live show here back. But I do Comedy Reel is super fun. I also help produce the Gateway show with Billy Anderson. He has that as a weekly at the Hollywood Improv when that comes back. So even if Comedy Reel goes away, at least I get a little bit of that live show help. But live shows it's hard.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, is it weird? So you do the Gateway show with Billy. You do that all across the country, but you do it in LA also. Is it weird for you when you have a show in LA and you're so used to? I mean, you kind of touched on this. You take better care of yourself on the road. Now you're at home and you wake up and you have 11 hours before showtime. What do you do? Does it like throw you off a little bit?
Yeah, honestly, I feel, because I don't know, you're not allowed to smoke before the show, and I smoke. I mean, that's the hardest part for me. Honestly, the reason I hate doing the show is I can't smoke all day. So it's just a little rough because you're around your friends more. You're around, like, your vices are always at home. I know where all my bowls are. So like staying sober during the day is the most annoying part. But I don't know. I think doing shows in LA, a lot of it is I think I'm more spoiled that I get to drive. Yeah, like you said, I'm used to driving hours and hours after a gig. So it's nuts to me to be able to do a gig and then just, in 10, 15 minutes I'm home. So it's a good advantage, but it is harder to stay sober during those shows.
Yeah. I hope that you get, I hope the Dry Bar special is received really well, and I think it will be, because you're amazing. And then that way you can get some good weekends across the country, and it'll be a good mix of doing a show and getting to relax for the night, because you're back there the next day, right?
Yes.
So that'd be a good mix of what you like on the road, but also maybe with a little bit more relaxation.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Exactly. 'Cause, you know how it is. Like, most times you do one-nighters, and that's mostly traveling. So when you get to do a weekend somewhere, you can actually, like, when I can take clothes out of my suitcase for a couple of days, that feels great.
Yeah. Well, if anyone is watching and they're a booker, book this man. Get him some good weekend gigs.
I feel the dreams. That's my thing. If you book me, I will come. I will show up. So
feel the dreams. Good reference. Are you ready for rapid fire?
Let's do it.
Okay. If you were performing tonight, what would your walk-up song be?
Ooh, what's that Queen song? Oh my God, I can't think of this. The Flash.
Yeah, I think
Universe.
I think, is it Flash Gordon or is it just Flash?
Yes, that's
okay.
I don't know. It just popped in my head, and I was like, oh, that'd be great to walk out with the like.
Yeah. What's your favorite show to perform in?
My favorite show to perform in. Ooh, I just like perform. I did the Comedy Store one time. I was only there. I did the open mic there, but that stage was so legendary. It literally took my breath away walking on, just getting to see that angle. So it was just a potluck, but it was at the Comedy Store, and that was the one that that was awesome. So
I think that answers the next question. What's your favorite venue to perform in?
Oh yeah, Comedy Store. I mean, the improv is fun. There's also clubs everywhere that are. Honestly, the Comedy Spot, I was always like, that has a place in my heart, just because I feel like that's one of the spots I became. Like, I was comfortable doing comedy. Like, Billy sent me to host the Gateway show without him one weekend, and it was just great. I felt so good, like, running the show and owning it. And a place in Denver, actually, the Church of Cannabis, is just, it's a trip. Like, look up pictures. It's
I've seen.
Great.
Yeah.
So,
but the viewers should look it up. The Church of Cannabis in Denver.
Yeah, it's amazing venue. But it's more just so unique.
Okay, this one you don't have to answer if you don't want to. What's the worst city to perform in?
The worst city to perform in. Honestly, okay. Mine so far is, I feel bad because it's more the event. It was Coos Bay, Oregon, but I go to this place called the Mill Casino, and I have to do, it's 30 minutes of squeaky clean stuff in a casino that has, everyone's scattered in the room. No one cares to watch the show. It's mostly a free show for them because they lost a ton of money, and it's 2 shows in a row. If it was only one, it wouldn't be that bad, but I've literally called my mom, like, wanting to quit comedy after a couple of shows, like multiple. To the point where I've called her once again, and she's like, "Are you in Oregon?" I was like, "Yes, I'm back at the Mill Casino."
Yeah. So, be careful going there.
Yeah.
What's the funniest thing an audience member ever said to you after a show?
Ooh, this is great. This girl told me, she's like, "Hey, you're really cute. I'm gay, and I haven't been with a guy in a while. Is it cool if I blow you real quick?" And I was like, sure, this would be great. So we went to the back of, literally behind the club, like the stage is right here. and say the audience is here, there's a hallway behind the stage. I was leaning on the other side of the stage wall, meeting this beautiful woman. And then it was crazy because after everything was done, she just kind of like gave me a kiss and was just like, "You're awesome," and walked away. It was just that one. I told my friends, they still don't believe me. Like, nah, dude, like she could have been lying, but that was her walk up. Is for some reason she was just into it, and I love that. I love that I could do that.
That's a good story. Who's your favorite comic?
My favorite comic is I like Patrice O'Neill. He passed away years ago, but he just makes me belly laugh so hard. Like there's a lot of people I laugh when I hear them. Like, like Dave Chappelle, I think is great. There's Dave Attell. There's Maria Bamford. There's like a ton of like great but like for some reason whenever Patrice, and a lot of it's like relationship stuff. It's that whole like he makes fun of his girlfriend a lot, but loves her so much that he like cracks even harder jokes on her. And it's like I could feel that like, oh, he's really in love with this girl. That's why he's going so hard, because he's annoyed how much he loves this girl. That's how I feel with my girlfriend. Like I'm so upset with how much I love her. It bothers me. But I could feel like a lot of people are like, oh, I hate his girlfriend. No, dude, you so much mad about it. And that just was hilarious. Like, it was just a good undertone.
Right on. Who's your favorite comic to do a show with?
Ooh, favorite comic to do a show with. Honestly, it's gonna be someone smaller because I get so nervous around. I grew up as such a comedy fan, so whenever I meet anybody, even gnarly, kind of big, I mean, to the point where it's smaller, big comic. Like I met Mark Norman, and I was freaking out. And he's still such a lower level. So I have like more friends. I love going on the road with like a lot of my good friends. Like my buddy Greg Beachler was a really fun dude, just a Seattle comic. My friend Elliot GB, just random like Nolan, like random buddies, because you can be more yourself. I did a weekend with Theo Vaughn, and the whole time I was like, oh, does this guy like me? Well, maybe he'll get me open for him one day. I'm thinking about all this other stuff. Right? I mean, be a fun, funny guy. And with my friends, that's all I care about is make them laugh. Let's have fun. So usually when I go on the road, that's why I can see when I watch bigger comics, they just bring their group with them. It's like, oh, because it's fun.
Yeah.
They don't care about the show. They want a good show, but they're on like the show's an hour long, hour and a half long. They're traveling. You better like who you're performing with. Yeah, to me, it's homies all day.
Yeah, I've only gone a couple hours for shows, but it's always with people that I really like. So
yes,
that's been good. All right, you don't have to answer this one, but this is a new question I'm testing out. So I think you're only the second person in rapid fire for me to ask. What's your favorite sex position?
Ooh, this sounds lazy, but I like being under a girl when she's riding, because I feel like you get everything. You get to hold the hips, there's butt action there, you get the boobs in the face, and then you can stand up and show that, like, because sometimes you look like you're being a little lazy, then you can like move, like, I don't know. I feel like if you do it right, that's my jam. That's like, it's just the best.
That's a good answer.
Like, with their legs, you know what I mean? You feel they're like, it's so good. It's just, that's awesome.
This next question is like kind of a 180 from that. Do you cook or bake?
Do I cook or bake?
Uh-huh.
I can't really bake. I guess I cook, but honestly, I order out a lot. I try not to, but I don't have a ton of time. I'm not good. I don't know flavors that well, so I'd rather just pay someone to blow my mind with something delicious than bum myself out that I ruined another steak. Season it well.
Fair enough. If someone's buying us shots at the bar, let's say you're in Sacramento and you have 3 hours this time, someone buying us shots, what are we shooting?
Ooh, whiskey. Or, well, if it's shooting, maybe tequila. If it's a party, if we're all dancing, it's a party, I'm doing tequila. But if it's like, hey, let's hang out, it's a dark bar, we're just kind of chilling, more lay back, it'll be whiskey.
Okay, because that was my next question was, let's say you have 4 hours and someone's buying us drinks. What are we drinking?
Oh, yeah, sipping on whiskey, taking shots of tequila. That's probably the answer. Yeah.
I need brands, Mike. You can't be tequila and whiskey, right?
Well, I don't know a lot about tequila. I'm not great on, but Bullet whiskey is my jam. I like Bullet a lot.
I just wanted to make sure you weren't like just drinking tequila from the well. Like,
no.
That's not the jam.
Someone says one that's like pretty famous, I guess, and I don't know. Is it Don something? I don't know. I'm terrible. I'm such a lightweight, by the way, that anybody sees me live and I'm drinking, like anything after 1, I'm feeling it. So it's not good.
Well, your tolerance is in other
Yes, exactly.
vices.
Yeah.
Toilet paper. You hanging it over or you hanging it under?
I go over, but I'm all about baby wipes. That's my jam. Like, I know people talk about bidets. I used to use bidets when I was a kid in Venezuela, and I remember it was like a completely separate toilet and all that. I think like I use like a little bit of toilet paper, but I'm just almost, it's like 90% baby wipes. So
Same. It's
go.
all about the wipes. Toilet paper
Right?
is abrasive. When like the toilet paper shortage happened, I was like, that's cool. I got packages of wipes for days.
Right.
I'm good because they come in like 12 packs. So like as long as I can get me through this, we good.
Yeah.
Favorite drag queen?
Okay, so I don't know any in particular, but when I was doing comedy at the Broadway Comedy, or actually it was Jai Tai at the time of Broadway Comedy, Cap Hill, there's this place called Julia's that's right across the street. They would have drag shows, every weekend that were so much more fun than us sitting outside of those open mics, which I know you've probably been there too. And I just remember looking over there and it's like, the scene in Seattle is so fire and it was so impressive. So I went in a couple times and honestly, I was so intimidated because of how the energy was it was awesome. So shout out to Julia's in Seattle because they do it right there.
Did they have any kings performing or just queens?
I'm not sure, but I wouldn't doubt it because that was like one of the spots, like when they did the Pride Parade, it went right past Julia's and a lot of like, I feel like that's kind of, I could be wrong. I don't really know a lot about the scene, but whenever I was up there, that was always popping.
Right on. Well, again, when you have 6 hours here in Sacramento, or maybe if you guys stay overnight once, like come to a brunch, see all the people I perform with.
Oh yeah,
they're amazing. And if you're ever here when I have a show, I need to book you sometime and get you up here. But there's some amazing queens here, and I bet you'll have a favorite after you see some of them.
Nice.
What are you most excited to do when you can go out in the world again?
Other than, I don't want to just be basic and say stand up because that's what honestly, I went to sporting games. I go to a lot of sport games. I like going to stadiums, not even as much, like I liked sports a lot growing up, but it's more of, I just like the atmosphere. So me and my girlfriend or a couple of my friends, I always try to go to every stadium or just try to buy tickets to events, random events, just to try to like I just like live events. Even if I'm not into it, I feel like going live, you'll always have more appreciation for whatever you see when you see someone do it live right in front of you. Mm-hmm. So now I feel like everything that is on the like last phase of opening is all live stuff. So I can't wait for concerts, shows, sporting events, just being like around people. Sadly, when I was at the rally, half of me was like, loved seeing that many people because we were all there for one thing and to support this great cause. And the other half was like, I felt great being around that many people. Like I haven't felt this energy of like people in energy. And it's just, so I miss that. I miss being in groups of like friends and yeah, I know the second that they start selling tickets and stuff, I'm gonna be one of those dudes buying everything, just trying to see stuff. There's live events.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I want you to check me on this and make sure I get everything right. So you have the Dry Bar Comedy Special coming out maybe the end of this month, maybe July. People can look you up at your podcast. Remind me where again they can find it?
You can find it on Facebook. Facebook and YouTube are like the easiest side. We live stream from there, but you can just look up Best Champions Podcast or Fuckboy Helpline, both on Facebook. They have their own pages, and you guys can write us questions and we'll answer them and all that.
Right on, and those are every week.
Yep, every week.
All right, so people can look you up there. When all this gets going again, they can find you on the road. Do you post where your shows are going to be anywhere?
Yeah, you can follow Mike Masilotti. Either on Facebook or I have an actual comedy page on there, or MikeMasilotti.com. I don't have any dates on there yet because there's nothing up. But the second, if you want to stay up to date, they'll have dates on there. But yeah, I always post them on my personal Facebook page. I make a banner showing every gig of the month and where I'll be. So it's, hopefully I'll be wherever you guys are at. And if you want to see me perform live, reach out and I'll message the club by you and see if I can make that happen.
Right on. Mike, it was so much fun to have you on. Thank you so much, and I can't wait until you're back in Sacramento and I can see you again.
Yeah, most definitely. I'll definitely let you know.
Yeah, please do. Anything else before you go?
No, it was great. Thank you so much for having me. And I like this was a fun conversation. I was a little nervous about it, but then instantly it was like, oh, this is gonna be just swell. Just talking, just be real, and just like this is the first time I think we've had a long conversation. So it was exciting to do this. So
well, thanks for doing it. I really appreciate it, and I know my viewers are gonna message me and say like he was awesome. I've already gotten a couple. So thanks for being on the show, and happy Pride Month.
Oh yes, most definitely. Shout out to all my family members that are in and out because I know both sides in the family. Mm-hmm. So to everybody during Pride Month, big support.
Right on. I'll talk to you later, Mike.
All right, take care.
All right,
later.
Bye. All right, Peers and Queers. That was Mike Masilotti. Find him online. Find him when he comes to your city. He's a great comic and a good guy, and he's hilarious. So you'll be really glad you did. And with that, we're going to go with our final guest as per usual. David Shapiro, comic, producer, actor, whatever he's doing. Hey, David, can you hear me? David?
Yes.
Oh, hey. You there?
Yep.
Oh, cool. Hi.
Hey.
Oh.
Hi.
Yeah, hi. Wait, what are you wearing?
Oh, yeah, you left it here at my house, my apartment, after a gig last summer.
Yeah, it's mine.
It's a t-shirt. It's unisex. I'm going to wash it before I give it back to you. It was here, and I thought it was perfect for this episode and for the segment that I'm going to talk about.
Did I leave anything else?
A rainbowy dress.
Uh-huh.
A skirt. It's like see-through material. I don't know how to. It's like
okay, that's a tutu.
And a pair of heels.
Did you wear any of those? Are you sure? Do you want to be a drag queen?
I'm sure.
Okay. What are we talking about this week?
I didn't know what to talk about this week at first, and then I saw a post on your Facebook wall that you shared, or people shared to you, actually, and I wanted to talk about that.
The one about drag queens needing to take action?
No, but I agree with that, too. Drag queens and comedians also should speak up, but the right ones, Mean Dave's right. A lot of people say a lot of things, and maybe we could use people that the best of the people saying the things.
Okay, so what are we talking about?
Anyhow, yeah. So I think we're gonna go into history, and I took some notes, and I want to talk about the post about William Dorsey Swann.
Okay, go on.
So William Swann was born into slavery in 1858, and by the time he was an adult, he was throwing drag balls and dinners in Washington, D.C. in the late 1870s, 1880s. He was known as the Queen of Drag, and he was throwing these balls and dinners for his friends and anyone else that was interested in coming that was also lucky enough to get an invitation.
In 1880s?
Yeah, during the 1880s. Probably as early as 1880, maybe even like late 1870s. He threw these hold on. Sorry. Okay. He threw these dangerous dinners and balls, very illegal at the time, of course. And he was even sentenced to 10 months in jail on the false charge of running a disorderly house.
What's a disorderly house?
A disorderly house was code, running a disorderly house was code for running a brothel.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that you look like you come from a disorderly house sometimes.
Okay, that's...
Anyway, he was sentenced to 10 months in jail, and he demanded audience with the president so he could ask for a pardon, and he got it. That's right, a former slave got a president to hear his plea for a pardon.
Did he get it?
In 1890s.
Did he get the pardon?
No, unfortunately it wasn't. But, something tells me that more people soon are going to know more about William Dorsey Swann than they do about President Grover Cleveland.
Why?
Well, so if in 2021, if we get there, Professor Channing Joseph he's writing a book called The House of Swan, and Professor Joseph is under contract with movie companies to have the story turned into a movie. I know President Grover Cleveland was a president, but honestly, most Americans can't name presidents, like half of them. And people don't know Millard Fillmore if he was a president, if he's a music venue, or if he's a type of gefilte fish. But one of the first drag queens to be so public, and on top of that, throwing illegal drag balls in dinners, like, what a pioneer. Like, that's a huge story.
I agree.
It's a real life hero.
I think so, yeah, to do that. That's
Yeah, no, it's really cool. I wanted to talk about it with you.
Yeah, it's something to look forward to in 2020. But I think I'd rather talk to Professor Joseph. You should get him on the show.
Isn't it crazy, though?
What?
Well, since getting to know you, I've learned a lot about, LGBTQ history. And, of course, I'm late to the party, but everyone knows that Marsha P. Johnson helped spark the first Pride. It was a riot at Stonewall in 1969. That was 90 years after William Dorsey Swann was fighting for LGBTQ rights in the United States. I mean, they didn't even know what to call the rights they were fighting for, but they were fighting for their rights in the 1880s. Yeah, both amazing queens, both amazing people, both black pioneers leading the way. Amazing black queens leading the charge.
There you go. You tied in Pride to the segment.
Do you mind if I share some Marsha P. Johnson quotes? I found them and I cheated. I didn't do a lot of research. I found an article on Marie Claire by Bianca Rodriguez, and I just wanted to.
Why were you reading Marie Claire? That's what were you? That's you're
Anyhow,
the weirdest
here are
straight
some
guy I know.
Quotes from Marsha P. Johnson. Again, from Bianca Rodriguez and Marie Claire. How many years has it taken people to realize that we're all brothers and sisters and human beings in the human race? You never completely have your rights, one person, until you all have your rights. No pride for some of us without liberation for all of us. As long as my people don't have their rights across America, there's no reason for celebration. Anyhow, yeah. Bianca Rodriguez, Marie Claire, 8 Marsha Johnson quotes.
So Marie Claire is where women 30 to 50 go for articles on beauty, career, relationships, fashion, hairstyle. Why were you reading Marie Claire?
I don't know. In summation, there was a really badass queen of drag in the 1880s, William Dorsey Swann. Marsha P. Johnson was amazing for many reasons, but she has a lot of quotes in this article that are pertinent and relevant to today's situation, even though that was 50 years ago. Professor Channing Joseph seems like an amazing person doing amazing things. You'd be lucky to have him on your show. And Bianca Rodriguez made this segment possible by having a Marie Claire article that I could cherry pick from. And Marie Claire is good for things, including dating advice.
Which you need badly.
Yeah. My friend Mary Burrell and your friend Olin Sanders get assists for sharing the post originally on your wall.
My friend Mary.
My friend.
Okay, our friend. That's fine.
Yeah. There's, I just want to reiterate, there's no reason for celebration until everyone is equal and we all have the same rights and freedoms. And eventually, I hope the only privilege left is the privilege of hard work and good friends.
I mean, being related to people is okay
maybe
sometimes. Yeah. Well, so all right, you strange straight
well, thank you.
reading weirdo.
I think you should try to get a swan soiree happening. I saw that on your thread, having a swan soiree, a ball in honor of William Dorsey Swann.
Sure, add it to the list.
Eh.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'll see you next week, you messy-looking hooker, looking like you came from a disorderly house.
Yeah, like I said, you're a strange straight Marie Claire reading weirdo. So.
Suze.
Yeah.
Happy Pride?
Yeah, like we said, happy Pride, but there's work to do.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Okay, Peers and Queers, that was David Shapiro. All his information was on the screen. Thank thanks to him for coming every week, and actually like that segment this week. That was the show. That was today, so thanks again to Mike Masilotti, Chelsea Bearce, me and Dave, Clifton Ellison, and David Shapiro for being here. Thanks to Stab Comedy Theater and Jesse, the amazing producer that helps make this show happen. You can join us next week with Apple Adams. And if you're out there protesting, be safe, be smart, stand tall, stand strong, don't be silenced. Happy Pride Month. But remember, as long as my people don't have the rights across America, there's no reason for celebration. See you next week.